We are always grateful for whenever we get reader questions, and we get this one from Robert Dufour. I have to say, this is a pretty specific question. Who are your top 3 Canadiens draft picks selected in the 6th round or later since 1985? That's crazy. I mean, not to say that the Canadiens don't have players who were drafted in the 6th round or later since 1985, but like I'm curious to see what you guys hear. Like Brendan Gallagher wouldn't even count for this because he was a 5th round pick.
So it wasn't easy putting together this list. But one obvious one was Andrei Markov. So yes, he's on it. I also go with another defenseman named Mark Streit, and another one with an M, Mike Komisarek. This is my list of the top 3 that I have there.
What round was Komisarek taken?
I'd have to double check, but I was actually pretty surprised how late he was.
Really?
Well, I think number 1 has to be Andrei Markov, a 6th round, 162nd overall in 1998. Another good one, Brian Savage, 8th round, 1991, 171st overall. And then Lyle Odeline, 7th round, 141st overall, 1986. And I'm going to put Odeline at the top because here's a guy who was a 7th round pick. And I remember being at Hurley's Bar on Montreal one night, and it was after with a bunch of media guys, and Odeline had just signed a new contract. And I don't remember what it was. I'm sure it was worth less than what the minimum salary is in today's NHL. And he came in, this big guy, and he happier as could be. And he just started buying rounds for everybody. Grand Marnier and a beer, rounds and rounds and rounds. And then he was saying at the time, he was paying, it was before a debit card, so he had cash on him, and he was like, can you believe they're paying me this much money? And I'm thinking, here's a guy who was a 7th round pick, and just a great guy, and you know, counting his lucky stars that he made it in the NHL and made a significant amount of money, not nearly as much as he would have made now. But so I'll put him at the top of my list just for that.
I need to make a correction with mine.
Yes.
Komisarek was 7th overall, not 7th round pick. That's what happens when you work on a morning show and you get up at 4 a.m.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, yeah, he was 7th over. He was, funny enough, Ilya Kovalchuk was in that draft. Jason Spezza was number 2. Yeah, he was a top 10 pick from that draft. I remember
looking and thought, wow, Mike Komisarek went this late. Well, that's what happened.
Another one you can throw in there who was a 7th round pick is Darcy Tucker.
Yeah, that's
1993, 177th overall.
Yeah, that's one of the names. I had Lyle Olin in there too. You know, played over 1,000 games. This guy, you know, for a 7th rounder, and Darcy Tucker was in my list. I mean, the guy. I didn't realize until I saw his name. I said, "Oh, geez, over 900 games the guy played." And then, you know, you got to throw. And obviously, Markov is in there, but an honorable mention has to go to Michael Ryder as an 8th rounder.
Yes.
You know, a guy that you know, scored some goals and did some pretty good things. But it was interesting to review some of the names and see the ones that were drafted higher and maybe played 5-8 games and go, oh, never heard of them. Didn't last too long, and you know, it gives you a real good feel of the Canadiens drafting over those, or after that, you know, over that period of time, who really made impact. And I'm not sure if there's a lot of them that you know, panned out.
Well, it's too bad we could only go back to 1986 because the all-timer of all-time late round picks is our great friend Chris Nyland, who was a 19th round pick in 1978, 231st overall. There were only 234 players taken that year. And the only reason Chris Nyland was drafted was as a favor to his midget coach, a guy named Paul King, who was a district court judge in Massachusetts and was very good friends with Dickie Moore and Doug Harvey. So as a favor to Dickie Moore and Doug Harvey and for Knuckles' midget coach, they drafted Chris Nyland. That's the only reason he got drafted. And 1977-78, Chris Nyland at Northeastern, this is the year before he got drafted, played 20 games. Guess how many penalty minutes he had?
Probably like 300.
0. None.
Oh, that's insane.
No penalty minutes. 20 games, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 penalty minutes, 17 points. 0 penalty minutes. The man who
I
went
think
on to become Knuckles Nyland.
You have to double check that stat.
No,
that can't be true.
It's double, triple checked. He had 0 penalty minutes.
Okay. All right. I want to bring up my list here. I decided, you know what? I will check on Hockey DB and see what names I can come up with here. Andrei Markov obviously needs to be there. Michael Ryder, who I still think should have won the Calder Trophy as opposed to Andrew Raycroft, should have been there. And I understand that this third player only played, had a cup, not necessarily a cup of coffee with the Montreal Canadiens, but his impact with the team was not to be understated. 9th round pick from Bratislava Juniors, Yaroslav Alak, who many people will remember from the illustrious 2010 run. People were trying to figure out if it was Halak versus Price. Imagine what the team would be if they kept Yaroslav Alak. Not saying they should have done it, but imagine what the team would have been like. But Yaroslav Alak absolutely deserves to be considered among the best players taken after the 6th round. And by this question, by far, goes down as the most specific, most interesting question we have ever gotten from a reader or a watcher of this show. But please keep them coming. They're fun. They exercise our brains. And, it's a nice break from talking about how bad the defense is for the Montreal Canadiens, among other things. Just keep those questions coming. Write them in the comment section below this video. Subscribe to the YouTube video. Subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out newsletter. And check out hockeyinsideout.com. Maybe Brendan Kelly has something interesting in his What the Puck column that he puts out every week. Maybe.